I hear that some of you are quoting Cat Black and not giving her credit, and this cannot stand.
That, and I need to explain some psychology here because it's very important.
So the skirt is happening, but I don't know it's gonna be. I'm not as excited for the collared shirt as I am Okay, we got this. I do think there is an irony in the way that I dress, is that this is the outfit for some people, and this is just step one. Step two. I know what you must all be thinking. Kate, do you heat your house? And the answer is yes. Don't worry, I only cut myself a little bit by doing this exact thing earlier this week. Two, maybe three things about me. First, I'm a social psychologist who researches intergroup contact. That means I am interested in understanding how, if somebody, say, a black trans woman makes videos on the internet for anyone and all to see, then she is likely to reduce prejudice towards black people, women, and trans people, because people who are not black, people who are not trans, and people who are not women are likely to see their videos. And if you think this is getting to my second point, yes. Cat Black was the first person I subscribed to on YouTube about 10 years ago. So, third thing, I need to eat. I need to eat, because if I don't eat, then I turn into a Disney princess that rambles and everything, and it's bad. I was gonna talk about something else different, but look, it's the heart patch. It's so cute. I don't know how to explain this without sounding like a crazy person, so I guess I just have to sound like a crazy person. About 6 months ago, Laverne Cox got in trouble talking about an ex-boyfriend of hers, and, that's none of my business. Suffice to say, on my favorite panel podcast, Cat Black was a guest, and she said something that was somewhat unremarkable to me as somebody who's followed her for 10 years, but apparently, all this time later, is resonating with people. She said, "I refuse to share my body with a man who wouldn't politically defend it." And you can hear her explain in this video, see, I'm a freak, why she and her very specific position in society has led her to come to this conclusion in ways that white women, let's say in particular, have not until this moment. So into the science behind all of this. For my dissertation, my PhD dissertation, I came across this article by Gozia Malajak. I tried, I promise I practiced. Intergroup contact and gender is in a review of the literature. A few things stood out to me. First was this finding that apparently relationships, romantic relationships, are one of the key sources of men and women's adoptions of sexism. Specifically talking about how women may find benevolent sexism appealing because it comes with security, and men might endorse benevolent sexism because it facilitates intimate relationships. I.e., if you are going to be a patriarch, do it with benevolent sexism. Do it with the kind of sexism that is, don't worry, honey, I'll take care of the taxes. Don't worry, honey, I'll take care of the car. Don't worry, honey, I'll take care of lawn mowing. We don't need to worry about that because we're not going to think critically about who does what because of what their innate talents are. We're going to just adhere to the very specific, cut and dry, this is what women do and this is what men do, and never the twain shall meet.
But what, I hear you say, does that have to do with Cat Black? I saw Nant. Because I'm focused, I'm not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, all that, and, big clip in the end. But, you grow 3 feet of hair, and then you can tell me how to style it. A slightly more telling part of this whole story is that unlike adult women and adolescent girls with more heterosexual relationship experience are more likely to endorse hostile sexism. That is literal scientific evidence of the pick-me period of time, by the way. But also, these scientists in 2010 are saying that it's maybe because intimate contact in romantic relationships expose girls to boys' gender attitudes, which may be more hostilely sexist when they're a teenager, for all the reasons why teenage boys say, ew, gross cooties. and then get to know women and are like, oh, right, maybe not. As it says, overall, findings suggest that heterosexual relationships are dominated by and further reinforce men's point of view, privilege, and unequal status of genders in society. Now, what does this have to do with the quote? I refuse to share my body with a man who wouldn't politically defend it. Why is this important? Well, to be honest, it's because women's standards are likely the reason why men change away from hostile sexism to benevolent sexism. Remember what we just read? Many men endorse benevolent sexism because it facilitates intimate relationships with women. One of the reasons why I'm not actually that afraid of the divide between boys and girls, literally boys and girls, children, and their political views on women is because as boys get older, they are more likely to get into friendships with women, and those friendships are gonna mellow out. This is what I saw in my own personal life. This is what is implied in the work here, which is free to access on the internet, by the way. Read it. Part of that is because women are okay with benevolent sexism, especially if it actually fully protects them from the only kinds of oppression they really experience.
I've spoken before about how patriarchy and misogyny tag team in order to reinforce each other.
As soon as your problem starts to involve a man, benevolent sexism is done with you. Because at that point, it's your word versus whatever the man wants to tell about the story. And guess what a sexist is gonna believe? The man. Guess what a sexist is going to value over your safety and comfort? The men's, whatever it is that they want. Probably continued access to your body, if we're really gonna be honest. And not for nothing, but Kat's story demonstrates this as well. If they really thought that you were an equal, they probably wouldn't protect you from things that you want to do, like leadership in the church, or being elected to a public office, or not having kids if you don't want them. They wouldn't choose things for you. If more women were actually interested in having a relationship as equals, as people who, made choices based on who they are and not their gender, well, then more men would probably follow suit. What can I say? This is how our society works, and it really sucks, because wouldn't it be great if men just decided to be good people because they want to be? Wouldn't that be great? Changed my mind. Feminism has a long history of trying to work through these problems, and so, frankly, you need to go elsewhere to hear about that, because it's outside of my area of expertise, yes, and also interest, because I'm not interested in making change through people's individual choices. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't care. You do you. It is interesting to me, however, that Kat Black, somebody whose personal intersecting levels of marginalization will not be assuaged by the very temporary safety that benevolent sexism will provide, was able to articulate this phrase in a way that white women appreciated but would not credit. So welcome. So glad you're here. But now that you are, we need to maybe do a little bit of raising the standards and including Kat Black when we directly quote her, because, well, it's important that you give credit where credit is due, yes. However, it's also important that people understand that folks like Kat Black have something to teach them. Because they do, and it'll make life easier for everyone once we learn that.